when people go, like, how do you do this? I mean, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're going here, you got this, you got the white, you got all these things, right?
Yeah.
Throw it 4 kids into the mix, all this stuff.
Yeah.
My genuine answer is you don't want to know.
Yeah.
You don't want to know what 17,520 hours in a cell feels like. I prayed for this. I asked for this. I begged God for this. Don't hit me with, I'm busy. I'm sad. I'm overwhelmed. You got the wrong guy.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of The Bullpen. I'm so excited to be talking to you guys with this next guest because this next guest here is a badass entrepreneur, but in one of the most fascinating and incredible ways I've ever heard of. And like straight up, I do not know anyone doing the exact same thing that this man is doing. He's doing it in incredible ways. Travis Richey, thank you so much for coming on The Bullpen, brother.
Thank you
Excited
so much.
to have you on. Just to give you guys an idea of what we're talking about here, Travis Richey is an entrepreneur, advisor, motivational speaker, having invested in over 25 startup companies in the last 10 years. That's a big deal, right? That's a really big deal.
We've been busy.
He spent the first half of his career in the financial world, directing mergers, acquisitions globally for hedge funds. At the age of 25, Travis directed a hedge fund with millions of dollars under management. Due to regulatory oversight in the state of Arizona, he was sentenced to 2 years in Arizona Department of Corrections. Armed with an MBA in finance and a PhD, which, you know, I'm not too big on college now. No, just from the School of Hard Knocks. There we go. He founded Accomplished ED Ventures to provide incarcerated and returned citizens a second chance at a successful life. Over the past decade, his programs have been used by hundreds of thousands of inmates in numerous Department of Corrections to bring life skills, job training, and education to justice impacted community. Travis Richey, wow. I mean, wow. Like, because, like, listen, man, obviously, you know, you've been through some shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Heavy.
Because you've been through some heavy shit. Not only have you been, you know, had to deal with going through incarceration, right? But you've also been through some shit just as an entrepreneur, building some big time stuff before and after.
And after.
Right?
Yep.
And I love having guests on here who have been through shit, right? I love talking to people about the shit they've been through because it's so inspiring to see the people who just never fucking gave up. Never quit once, because you and me both know a lot of people who have been through shit and it becomes a crutch for the rest of their life.
Yes.
Right? And sometimes they're really good reasons, really good excuses. So you almost feel really bad arguing with them, saying that they can do more, that they should push through it, because it's a really good excuse. But you have pushed through all these excuses to get where you're at today. What I really want to know, though, what made you this way? Like, what's your story?
Yeah.
Right? Because this just kind of gives me a little surface level.
Just a little
you know
surface level.
What's your story? What made you who you are? Like, why are you this way where you've been this driven to do what you've done?
Yeah. So it comes from mom. It comes from dad on both sides of the fence. So growing up, Pops was super intelligent.
Okay.
Vice president of Polaroid.
Oh, shit.
The old camera company.
Okay. Still around.
Still around. And
extra popular with the hipsters now.
Very. Yeah, right? It is. So cute.
Yeah.
Right? They died. Kodak died. Then now they're back. Remember you used to take the photo, popped out, and you 1984 Christmas on the bottom, a little white strip, and you don't.
Well, I don't know that. I'm too young for that. That's old man stuff.
That's old man stuff. That's how we used to do it back in the day.
That's right. Yeah.
Back in the day.
Right.
And that little material or chemical that was in that white piece, Pops would take that around the country and would cut heroin with it.
Really?
Absolutely.
What in the hell?
Woo!
Oh, jeez.
Now I'm gonna take it a little bit deeper. You know how he would do it? He funded the Mall Santa programs.
What?
What?
Wait. Hold on.
Rewind.
What the hell? There's okay.
Yeah, baby.
Dive into this, because there's a lot to it.
We're gonna unpack it.
Man, you're just fishing along, you know.
Tiny
just
crumbs.
Tiny crumbs. No more crumbs. Dive in. What the hell's going on here?
So the way that it worked was he thought, okay, how can I distribute this product nationwide, under the radar, and do it from a foundational perspective where no one's going to really raise an eyebrow. So he funded mall Santa programs around the country. Brought in the old man, dressed him up in the wig, got the space from the mall, paid for the space in the mall, brought everybody to line up there. Couldn't care much how he made revenue from it because the revenue was coming in barrels off the back of the truck so that the neighborhood would cut the heroin with the barrels of the Polaroid equipment.
What in the world?
Yes, sir. He'd come home. This is in the 80s. He'd come home with duffel bags of cash. Duffel bags of cash.
Oh, in the 80s. We're talking Pablo Escobar time.
Absolutely.
Like, what
the
fuck?
Yeah, man. So Pops was an entrepreneur. And everything that he
You don't
did,
say.
Yeah, tiny bit. Everything he did had a negative aspect to it. Negative aspect to it. Pops's own enemy was the man that stared at himself every morning while he brushed his teeth. And heavily involved in organized crime, heavily. And really made some moves along the way that were entrepreneurial focused, but he could never get out of his own way.
Do you ever want me to ask you, where were you guys living at this time?
Boston.
Okay, Boston.
Yeah, born and raised on the East Coast.
Okay, gotcha. Boston. You guys Italian?
Yep.
Anything with the Italian mafia?
All of it.
Really?
All of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's it's very fascinating.
Yeah, you don't say.
Able to talk about it now. Dad died earlier this year.
Okay. Gotcha. He didn't want to talk about it until
No, it's never really positive. And there's still a lot of people out there that are very close to us, very good friends of ours, who are in that life and then not in that life as well. Mutual friends of ours, Mel Chansey, for example, former president of the Hells Angels, very close friend. Him and my dad, affiliated and longtime friends. Mel out of Chicago, my dad out of the East Coast. So I kind of grew up in this era of Oz, the HBO show Oz. Very early on, I was running these guys to the clubs. I was running these guys in their vehicles to do things left, right, and center. Absolutely.
As like a kid?
As a kid.
How old were you?
15 years old, driving these guys Jaguars around.
You're 15 driving these guys around?
Absolutely.
What the fuck?
I was the cleanest guy on the block. To this very day, because of what I saw, I've never done a drug a day in my life.
Really?
Never once. Never once. No alcohol.
You'd think
no
like
cigarettes.
being in that kind of lifestyle.
Never
that would
took that left turn. I saw what it did. So I had that perspective early on. This is a bad idea. So all growing up until Pops got taken away and Mom and Dad got divorced and that whole thing imploded, you'd have the ATF outside the house. You'd have the FBI outside the house. They went after Dad many times: vehicular manslaughter, attempted murder, manslaughter, all sorts of interesting charges.
Wow.
What really got him hooked up, kind of, as we say, all day, was a shootout between the Hells Angels and the Mongols in Laughlin, if you remember that, approximately a decade plus ago.
Holy shit.
So they had some stuff on camera. That didn't end up very well for him, and so he went up the river, as we say, forever.
What in the, oh, shit almighty. Okay. All right, hang on. That's your dad's side, but then you also said your mom's side on both sides. All right, so tell me about that side.
Yeah, so everything I just mentioned, completely opposite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like what?
When Pops would try to detox from heroin, my mom would lay on top of him in the bed and try to help him detox because his ego was too big. He couldn't go out. He couldn't go to the rehab facilities, couldn't ask for help. Mom is the saint. Mom converted to Mormonism.
Okay.
Church of Jesus Christ. So we grew up LDS.
Gotcha.
Mom would make sure we went to church every Sunday. Mom would make sure that we did the right things. Mom would make sure that she tucked us into bed at night. Even though Dad was downstairs in the basement, stumbling down high on heroin, with a 357 in his hand, Mom would still tuck you in at night and make sure that, everything was going to be okay. Very interesting dichotomy as a young man to try to figure that out.
Absolutely.
And so Mom tried to make sure everything was right.
I mean, low key, let me ask, were you doing in the church and like a deacon, passing the sacrament?
All of it.
At the same time, going and driving a Jaguar.
Scouts, all of it.
What in the
Bro,
world?
1 foot in, 1 foot out, 1 foot in, 1 foot out,
Holy
1 foot in, 1
shit.
foot out.
Yeah.
All of it. Literally grew up Eagle Scout, Boy Scouts, the whole nine. Order of the Arrow, the whole nine. I did it all. Served a mission for my church.
So, man, it's just because I'm just thinking what that would do to somebody by living this double, double life almost.
You're totally right, and it spoke to it when you said it when you started out. Or I don't even know if we were rolling when you said that, but I don't know if you can really make an impact in this life if you haven't been through some deep waters.
Right.
I think that's where empathy comes from. How do you sit across a table from someone and talk about, I mean, some of your greatest guests, your biggest guests have seen some stuff you and I couldn't even comprehend.
True.
And when they speak on that, the only way that they're able to sit next to these folks, these leaders of nations and countries, and articulate it is because they've treaded deep waters.
Yes. Yeah. Amen. Yeah.
That's where I feel like I have felt that everything has served me until this point right now.
I mean, that's literally the definition of like, because as we were saying before, right? There's people who have that shitty experience in their life and they use it as a crutch, right? Meaning life is happening to them, right? But then there's the other way where people go through the shit and they say life is happening for me. I see everything as what has helped me get to where I am today, right? And that is the biggest determining factor.
It's a difference
in who's going to make it or not,
it's
right?
a difference.
Because, dude, what you're saying, life's hell.
Oh, it's tough.
Right. And just because we have different stories, like you know, that's one hell of a story, right? You like we're not going to,
it's been fun.
apples down. I don't know about that. Right. But but everyone deals with shit, right? Everyone goes through something, whether it's cancer, whether it's, incarceration, whether it's, financially, whether it's family, it could be so many things, right? Life never, ever, ever, ever stops causing pain.
No.
It's just the difference of how do you deal with that pain, right? I think there's so many people trying to live a life without pain. Life is pain. You will never not live a life without pain. A little joint pain here and there, little mental fatigue.
All the above.
Everything.
Yeah.
You're going to live a life of pain. So you either learn, I'm so glad you're saying this because I was literally having this thought 2 days ago. The art of pushing through the pain is a lost art today. And especially I see it in my generation, the younger generation, the second they encounter that
adversity.
pain, little adversity, it's time to back away, trying to find a different path.
Buzzwords.
Yeah, exactly.
Depression.
There you go.
Anxious.
Exactly.
Nervous.
Yes, all these things,
all the
right?
above.
And then we think, oh, it's okay. You got that. Now it's time to take a step back and relax. No, that's the time when you're supposed to push forward.
When you go.
It's a lost art that we just forget that, you're supposed to push through pain. You're going to have pain, right? And we're talking here about some serious pain.
Yeah.
Because,
bro, I've got every reason in the world to be on tomorrow's episode of Jerry Springer.
You'd think so, right?
Right.
Right. That's true.
It's true.
I mean, how many people, because we're talking about incarceration, that's something that you're very heavily with. How many of them are usually end up there because of that, how it was in their family growing
8 out
up?
of 10, 9 out of 10.
At least, right?
Correct. Very high numbers.
Yes.
And so it's very interesting, right? So you looked at it. And so what I was able to do, Dad was very, 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 very smart, very intelligent, very wise, if you will. And then Mom just wanted to make sure we did everything the right way. And so I thought, you know what? In my life, and you'll know this, you'll look back on this in a few years when you have little kids. This is what I said. If I have enough time, I can figure anything out. That was my factor right there. And so I was like, I can't let somebody or some corporation or something dominate my time. Or else I can't figure out this fatherhood thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And that's where I was like, okay, this has to be this is my guiding value right here, time. And so that's how I started to structure everything. How do I build enough time into my day, my week, my month, my year to really not go into the grave with that 6-letter word we call regret? How many people, you know them, I know them, we all know them, the guys that have no reason to cry. They've got a great 6-7-figure life, white picket fence, a wife that still wants to sleep with them when they're 40 pounds overweight, 4 kids that, aren't idiots and are well-adjusted, and they're miserable.
Right.
Miserable.
Yep.
No reason in the world. Bro, I walk into prisons every single week and have guys look at me who are lifers, who are never getting out, and they tell me, I'm the luckiest guy in the yard. That deep water, when you have the guy at 6 figures who never had adversity at 12, 13, 16, 19, shows up when he's 43, and he's not having the conversations with his sons that needs to be had to change a generation. You are going to have tough times. You are going to get knocked down. You are going to get beat up mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all different ways. How you react to it, that's how you change your life.
Well, I mean, you're talking about creating that life, creating that freedom, creating a life based on what you saw growing up, right? That was total horseshit, right? But here's what's funny, a little side note on that. You're talking about your dad being the most intelligent man. Honestly, just put it in the wrong direction.
That's it.
Right? Because Elon Musk even said a lot of drug dealers, a lot of gang members are the best entrepreneurs in the world, right?
Bro.
They just misdirect it, right? And that's kind of what you're doing. You work with these people and you're helping them redirect their real skill sets that they have, whether it's working with people, managing groups, we call them gangs or whatever it is, you know?
Yeah.
All that stuff. But you've created that life. And we just mentioned the life that you're now able to live to get your family out of a situation where you don't want them, like California. Yeah. You have created a life to get your family out of there, to be able to do what's best for your family, time frame wise, what location wise, whatever it needs to be. You created that life because 100%. Of what you saw, right?
Exactly.
And you just base it off of, this is what I saw, and I have to do X, or whatever it is.
Reverse engineer it.
To avoid that.
The pain.
Right?
Here's what's going to happen. So Pops used to say this all the time when we were growing up. He always had the funniest analogies. I'll drop a few. They were just normal to me, but when I say them to people, they die of laughter. One really good one for all the younger generations out there. If she had a different face and a different body, she could be attractive.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong, right? He was just before his time.
Have you seen the Kardashians before and afters?
Ooh.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. And so, to your point, there is a lot of these guys inside that just because they're locked up physically, they're not locked up mentally. We have a course. It's an entrepreneur. It's a Shark Tank style prison course. We run them through how to create a business, what to do, when to do, how to do, and like real world tangible stuff. Yeah. I don't need you to go out and get hit with $3,000 from LegalZoom, no disrespect, but you can go down to the Secretary of State. You can get your EIN online. Like you can set this up for $110, right? And if you don't learn the process, you don't really learn anything. So we walk them through it all. Yeah. At the end of 12 weeks, we cater it. We bring in people from the outside community, business leaders, thought leaders, bankers, and they judge them Shark Tank style. It's incredible. The ideas that come out of there, man. I'll tell you one story. We'll go super deep and then we'll bring it back up to the top.
No, you're good. Go for it.
I was sitting in California Department of Corrections with a gentleman, and his business idea was first aid in the community. I thought, this is interesting. And I was probably on week 11 of 12 when I got involved. And, everybody had set it up until that point. So I thought, this is interesting. There's a lot of really unique ideas that get to this point, but this one's simple, right? CPR, first aid. Interesting. Huh. Wild. All right. So during an intermission, I said, hey, can I talk to you about this? I want to know more. I'm missing something. There's no ego here, right? So there's got to be something that everyone else saw that I'm not seeing. And he sat me down. He said, so 41 years ago, I got picked up from school as a 7th grader from my uncle. He was involved in some gang activity. And I was sitting out front while he was inside the house, and I was doing what I do with the packs, with the drugs. And everybody came out of the house, and my uncle said, it's time to go. And there was a skirmish, there was an argument, and my uncle kept looking at me, it's time to go, it's time to go, it's time to go. And there were some guys that were coming for him, and they started shooting at him, and I shot at them.
At how old?
7th grade.
Oh, geez.
And he said, I killed one of the 2 of them. And my uncle killed the rest of them. And when the judge put me on the stand, she told me that I should have known CPR. This man carried this pain 41 years.
It's kind of a heavy thing to put on a 7th grader.
You think?
You should have known CPR,
you
young man.
Known.
Yeah, okay.
You should have known.
Yeah, you build up the community better to help the kid know. Like, what?
And it's amazing.
The judge said that to the kid? What? No.
My judge told me she was going to make an example out of me.
Oh, geez.
So you look at that, and you look at the perspective that man had 40 years later to carry this with him and to go, you know what? I'm going to take responsibility, and I'm going to try to change. But I see that all day long. You have guys, and you know them, that can't get out of bed. Yeah. Sad. Depressed. Yeah. Man, enough already. Right. Enough. Yeah. Masculinity, you and I know what we kill, we eat. That's a lost art for some reason. Yeah. It really is. It's a 4-letter word in today's world. Right. You can't say, I'm a hunter, I'm a gatherer, I'm a provider, and I'm damn proud of it. Because all of a sudden, you might be offending folks. Oh, shit. Growing up, my dad used to say, you have 2 options. Yeah. You're going to move into a nice neighborhood because you worked hard. You're going to marry a beautiful woman because you took care of yourself. She's going to drive a nice minivan because you wanted to take care of her. And then your neighbors are going to be jealous and hate you. Or you could not take care of yourself and go to a shitty mobile home park and you could have some disgusting individual who you don't like to sleep next to, and your kids could disrespect you, and your neighbor's going to hate you and be jealous. Just be the first dude. This is like 5th grade driving to school with this stuff.
Yeah.
You're like,
and you're looking up
like, dude, this dude's off his rocker.
Yeah.
But 30 years later, you're like, oh, that's right. No matter what neighborhood you move into, no matter how nice you are pulling up in your Lambo, 50% of the people go, yeah, Jeremiah does a lot for the community. He's a real solid cat. Wife's a sweetheart, works with his family. Other people are like, man, hate that guy. He wears green. He's got tattoos. He's over 2. Hate him.
Yep.
And if he says guns, he's out.
I say that a lot, by the way.
A lot. Right.
I love guns.
So it's one of those things where you're like, okay, well, I'm just going to be this guy. This is my authentic self because this is who I really am. This is who I really want to be. And birds of a feather, they run together. And
Let me ask you something.
hit me.
So, okay. So let's go through timeline here.
Yeah.
You grew up with one hell of a situation, right? Then you get out. Then you get in a situation where now it's time for you to be your own man.
Yeah.
And you decide, I want to go into finance because
Finance.
Why finance after all that?
Because
Because
I'm a numbers psycho.
okay,
Give me a letter or give me a word. Let's just use, what's your name? Oh, that's too easy.
super. No, that's
So
too easy as
we'll
well.
use Jeremiah just as a random.
right.
So I would sit down and I would go AEEHIJMR. And then I would alphabetize it 1 through 26. So A is 1, E is 5, I is 7, H is 8. And I would add up your name. Like 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old. Like I'm 13 checking my FICO score. Right? It's just like it was this part of my dad that really manifested itself. So we would be in the basement in Boston and we would be selling diamond saw blades to construction companies. We'd sell them in a baker's dozen. This is before school. I'm 14 years old, 15 years old, 16 years old.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm selling them on a landline. For those of you who don't know what a landline is, there's a wire. No, I'm kidding. I'll show Jeremiah later on Google. And we'd be selling these literally out of the basement. 24 hours after they land, my dad and his group, they'd go pick them up, they'd throw them in the river. Because now you need to reorder.
What in the world?
Bro, and so it was like, okay, there's a point of this where I love numbers, I love to create, I love to do this. And so finance came natural to me. And so it just started young. I mean, I've got the photos from mom, at 10 years old with the stand out front. I just wanted to be my own man, be my own boss, have my own flag, so to speak. And so numbers came normal. So I went to the world of finance, got my MBA. At this point, had a great pedigree. When you're looking at the world of finance, typically is, a family-oriented, religious type moniker, right?
Right.
Whether it's Wall Street or Main Street, that's who they want you to be.
Right.
They want you to live in a white picket fence. They want you to have 2.3 kids, et cetera. Right?
0.3 kid, huh?
Yeah. Think about it.
Yeah.
And so it was just a normal thing for me to go and do. So I was directing mergers and acquisitions globally. And had a beautiful life. The wife and I are flying around the world, underwriting deals. It was really, what I was great at. And so worked up the ranks, had a gentleman, who was really saw a lot in me. He had 11 billion under management. So he was able to kind of take risks that other people didn't need to worry about.
Right.
And gave me the opportunity to run this fund. This is the height. This is 04, 05, 06, 07, the build up to what we now know as the Great Recession.
Right.
Right. Kind of the 18, 19, 20, 21 of where we're at right
yeah.
now, right? And so during that time, I had this particular real estate fund, quarter 3 of 06 to quarter 2 of 07. And during that time, it was a $10 million raise. 25 years old, registered with the SEC under Reg D filing, Rule 506.
Right.
And raised that money for that fund, shut it down in 2007. So that's what you did back in the day. Just like you're seeing right now, this fund opens, this fund closes. This fund, it's sometimes abnormal to people who think about it, but to raise $10 million in today's world, as you well know, is about 6 months worth of work.
Right.
No disrespect to anybody, right? It's not that difficult.
Right.
Raising 100,000 and raising $1 million is the same
Pretty
work,
much, yeah.
right?
Yep.
And so right now we're experiencing the same thing. The market's at an all-time high, real estate's out of control, oil's nuts.
Yeah.
And so guys with capital like us are going, okay, where do we put our money? So these funds become opportunities, funds of funds. And so 3 million of that 10 million I'd raised in the state of Arizona. So
So you go through that, right? And then what happened? What happened that led to the incarceration? Tell me what went down there.
Yeah. So the state of Arizona, bless their souls, is one of the few states in the union that does not recognize Reg D filings. So let me break that down very simply. Securities laws are really, they're clear as mud. Today's world, you can purchase marijuana in Oregon, you can't take it to Boise. You can purchase it in Los Angeles, can't take it to Salt Lake, right? The feds can still come in and arrest you and take you to prison forever, right? There's guys sitting in jail right now on marijuana charges that are legal. Very confusing. The securities laws are very much the same way. I can go and register a fund with the Securities and Exchange Commission, known as the SEC, a Reg D filing, which is a regulatory filing that the SEC allows.
Right.
And the state doesn't have to recognize the federal government the same way the federal government doesn't have to recognize the state. Follow?
Yeah.
That's all it is. So the state of Arizona, because of who my dad is, was.
They were watching you maybe a little bit.
I don't think I had made very many friends. I don't think Dad made very many friends.
Sure.
You get a triple murder charge. It's not the greatest thing.
I don't think so.
No, you don't excite too many folks.
Yeah, I don't think that fluffs their feathers.
No. And so I just, was graced to be indicted by them. So they indicted me on what they term transactions of an unregistered securities dealer or salesman. Simply put, you didn't pay us our taxes.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, okay. So that leads to 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing that's so intriguing to me, right? You go 2 years, then you're out, but now you're doing a business that no one else is doing, right? No one else is doing this stuff. Cause I mean, you come out of, you're like everyone, because some people come out of prison, they go into construction, or they go right back into the field. Where, I don't know what,
or they go back into crack,
or they go back into crack. Like, but what made you what was it that made you want to do what you're doing today?
Man, great, solid question. I'll go on a tangent. Stop me where you feel fit.
Go on those tangents, baby.
When I first went down and I first hit the prison yard, I got classified. I got pulled out, and this gentleman pulled me out, and suit, coat, the whole nine. And he goes, "What's the deal? Who do you work for? What's the organization?" I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about." He said, "I worked here 33 years. I've never seen this charge." What's interesting is you go in with this little 3x5 card, and my transactions of an unregistered didn't fit on the card. Right. So they're typing this up.
Yeah.
It's TRNS/UNREG/ like you don't even know what it is. Right. So I try to explain it to him, and at the time, I'm in great shape, I'm jacked, I'm young, and he's like, "This doesn't add up. What's the deal here?" And I'm like, "Bro, unless Wayne Brady comes out of the freaking ceiling, and I'm on camera here, this is my real life. This is it." And so explain the charge to him, and I went through that almost my entire time, and even still to this day. Where now, anyways, I'll get there. So I go down and I get reclassified. Lieutenant pulls me out and is like, "For real, this degree?" "Yeah, man." Again, yeah, for real, man. First time, non-violent, non-repetitive, every reason not to be here, if you will.
Right.
I paid a fine of $3,059,000, public record.
Wow.
I fought this case for 6 years. 6 years. Unbeknownst to me, the government, just so everybody's listening, has unlimited resources.
Yes.
And will win.
Right.
And did. Anyhow, so I go down, I'm on the prison yard, and they go, "Well, we need you to go out. We need you to teach." "Teach what?" "I get out every day, bro. I go to the community college. I teach business 101. What is going on?
They had you doing that in prison.
I'm in Orange, literally walking the community college campus.
What college is this?
Bro, it gets weirder. No, it gets weirder.
What college
It gets weirder.
I'm paying tuition.
And for everybody listening right now, and for everybody who's been incarcerated, you're dying of laughter because you know exactly what I'm talking about. You're like, they let us out every day. So before I go in, I'm a 7-figure earner, tax-paying citizen. I'm now making 28 cents an hour. Not tax. How does this make any sense? But then I get let out every day. I'm not good enough to be in society, but I'm in. What in the world? Talk about weird, right? So I get let out, and all of the 4 yards, they meet at this college. So I quickly realized from an inmate perspective, I'm valuable because I'm able to disseminate information amongst all the yards. And they all want to know about money. They all have a hustle. They have an idea. Oh, what's up, Wall Street? This is what I got, right? And it turned into that. Well, I fostered that environment and I started going, okay, tell me your guys' pain points. You know, I got 8 hours here a day in college. Let's go. What are your pain points? I realized the biggest pain point, I lie. At the time, it was the biggest pain point I realized. Credit score.
Yep, I completely agree. That's why I have a whole program for all of that.
I know you do. Right. Credit score.
Yep.
People in today's world who've gone to high school, college, they don't understand credit score.
Nope, it's not
They don't
taught.
even know that FICO is a company set up by two dudes in San Francisco. They don't even understand that it stands for Fair Isaac Income. Forget all of that.
Right.
You guys have access to Google and YouTube and private and public education. Imagine you grew up in the system. Bro, FICO's a 4-letter word, quite literally to these guys. And so I said, okay, so you guys get out. Let me walk you through this scenario. You guys get out. You need a job to satisfy conditions of parole or probation. In order to get to the job, in order to get to church, in order to see parole, in order to see your baby, in order to see whoever, you need a vehicle.
Yep.
So you go to some buy here, pay here lot. They charge you 38% interest for a 1964 Saturn. And some jerk off puts on a battery choker so that if you don't make the weekly payment, he cuts it off. So what do? You go and sell dope, or you go and knock over liquor stores to make the payment so you can stay out to see your kids. And I said, I could fix that. I could fix that. So I wrote this course inside, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, showed them how to get their score twice a year for free, showed them how to build it. If you got someone on the outside and, you know, they're eating this up. They're eating it up. You don't have to walk out as a ghost. You don't have to walk out. If you got a bunch of fraud on there, let's get it all wiped out. You've been locked up for 5 years. Let's show them like boom, boom, boom. Like I'm making tangible difference. I said, I could fix that. That's easy. I could fix that portion. That's where it started a decade ago. That's where it started. Accomplished Ventures was born out of the idea I could take a pain point and eliminate it. They could walk out, go to Honda, lease an Accord, and move on and not have to go back. And so when I talked to these guys and I realized that gave them purpose, the reason I started Accomplished was felon is a noun. That's it. Person, place, or thing. It's like hair. Brown hair, short hair, black hair, spiked hair, blonde hair. You put an adjective in front of it, it gives it some perspective. Most guys I spoke to didn't have enough self-worth or self-confidence to get their own adjective, to come up with their own name. And I wanted them to be accomplished. And that's how it was born. And I thought I could change some lives to do this.
So, I mean, because it's so funny you're talking about credit scores, right? Because obviously me being young, I wasn't taught credit scores.
Right.
As a matter of fact, everyone's taught stay away from credit, stay away
bad.
from this, bad, you know, and the more but the drive in me to want to do things, to want to build a business, to want to be somebody led me down a path of what's the easiest step? What's the first step? How do I get started? I don't have any money. I don't have anyone to give me any money.
Right.
How do I get money?
Yeah.
Right. Because you need money to make money, right? You just need it. And so I start studying, and what you said is true. YouTube, Google, magical things, right?
Yeah.
And I start learning, and I start investing and saving up some money so I can invest to learn from other big name entrepreneurs and other mentors. And they start teaching me the exact same thing. Leverage.
Yeah.
When you first start out, whether you're having to start over or start out, there is a system you have to follow.
Yes.
And that system is develop a skill set that makes you valuable and make sure you have a credit score so you can leverage other people's money.
Yes.
So you can just have that leverage in your pocket to be able to do those things. Because if you can't leverage other people's money, if you don't have the skill sets to do that, or if you don't know what to do, you're screwed.
You're dead in the water.
I'm talking to young entrepreneurs. You're talking to people just trying to start over. At the end of the day, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
They're just trying to start.
Correct.
Or restart. Either way, it's the same thing. And where it all starts baseline is just learn how to get a credit score, man.
Yes.
Most people don't know, you're supposed to have credit cards. As a matter of fact, you're supposed to have multiple credit cards.
Different trade lines.
Exactly. Yeah.
How much? What's my balance?
What's the difference between a business credit card or business credit score as opposed to personal credit score? Do you have any idea how powerful it is to have a really good both? You know, all
Do you
these
know
things,
what
right?
DMB is? Do you know
Exactly.
what an EIN is? Do you have a business checking? Bro, so much
And
depth here.
that alone could
It's
change
life-changing.
someone's life as an entrepreneur to get them
Life-changing.
started. It's what changed my life. You see these behind me? It's because I actually learned how to leverage. I learned this system. I did it on my own, and I started having that success. And then I thought, well, I get all these young entrepreneurs ask me, hey, how'd you do it?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'll show you how.
show you.
It's right here.
Yep.
And everyone who I've actually had who's gone through it says the same thing. They're like, yeah, hey, you know, it works.
Shocking.
Shocker, right?
Right.
So, but
Dude,
I'm
you're
sure,
so right.
dude, but I'm sure you've added on to that because
Yeah.
I know damn well that like that's just one of the many
Yeah.
base points and it's life changing, but there's so many more things,
Correct.
right? So what else have you added on to this program
Man.
besides just that?
Over 40 courses now.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've covered the range of mental, physical, emotional, financial, and spiritual. So it started with the financial literacy. It went into the business 101. It went into entrepreneurship. I define those two differently. Not everybody's built to be an entrepreneur,
Nope.
right?
Right.
Some guys just want to know how a business should operate.
Yes.
Those are two separate skill sets.
I call them entrepreneur versus intrapreneur because there's a lot of people who want to be entrepreneurs, but they don't have what it takes to be an entrepreneur. But what they could do is be an intrapreneur. That's a huge difference. And by the way, those are both different than being an employee,
Yes.
right? But there's a lot of people who don't have what it takes to go through that kind of pain, suffering, and the pressure of being an entrepreneur, but they can be an intrapreneur where they internally build up. And so anyways, I
like
love what you're
that.
saying. That's how I describe it is
Okay.
you're either an entrepreneur or you're an intrapreneur. And by the way, they're both not employees necessarily.
Okay.
Right? Anyway, sorry, keep going.
No,
What
no,
were you
no,
saying?
no, no. I love that. So does this entrepreneur, does he have does he work 9 to 5, but hustle 5 to 9?
The thing about what I define, okay, so entrepreneurs, right? An entrepreneur is someone who sees problems in the world and goes out and take responsibility for it. I like to call it, they take it personal.
Okay.
Right? You see a problem and you take it personal.
Got it.
That to me is an entrepreneur because you take it personal and you're saying, I'm going to fix this.
Yeah.
Right? But then not only are you going to fix this, you're going to take on all the pressure, all the risk, everything. You're going to take the, loans out against you. You're going to do whatever it takes to go out there and make it happen. Right? And as an entrepreneur, you're the one building it. Right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who want to be entrepreneurs because there is a lot of fame and glory with being a successful entrepreneur, but there's also a lot of pain and suffering with it, right?
Yes, yeah.
And then there's the people who want to be entrepreneurs, but honestly don't want to have the spotlight, don't want to have to take on the risk, but still want to be driven by this freedom lifestyle where they can go in and fix and work and grow but they don't want to be the one to grow, to take it on.
Total
So they
accountability.
come in and they're like almost building up from the inside, right? That's kind of the definition
it.
I go with entrepreneur versus intrapreneur, right?
Yeah.
So
You're right. They have they have the right place in society for
right,
sure.
absolutely.
So we teach them the business, we teach them the entrepreneurship, and it's gone all the way down the spectrum to physical well-being, emotional well-being, breath work. How do I
Huge.
walk into a room as a felon who's been removed from society for 3 years and talk about my resume? Like,
Yeah.
forget about writing a resume, getting a
Yeah.
photo, no. How do I have a dialogue with folks
Yeah.
across the table? And so we teach them real tangible skills. This is where I've really tried to, the tip of the spear has been tangible. So what I tell them, and people go, hey, Travis, how do I address my being away?
Right.
Very simply. When you sit down, you've got your resume and you walk in the door, table, whatever it might be, office, you go, Jeremiah, here's the deal. For the last 36 months, my time's been taken from me. And I don't want to waste 36 more minutes of your day or mine. What I've learned about myself the last 36 months is this, and this. I realize that those unique skill sets are going to apply to your company in these 3 ways. But in full transparency, I don't want to waste another 36 minutes of your time or mine. Most employers are like, tell me more. Where did you get the confidence?
Right.
Thanks for being honest. I know you're going to piss clean. Like, there's so many
Right.
benefits to this cat.
Yep.
And you might not know how to build the widget or sell the widget, but if you can show up with authenticity and hustle every day,
Yep.
bro, I can teach you how to sell cars.
Dude, I think authenticity is a skill set nowadays. Authenticity
Should be
is
taught.
craved. It's taught. It needs to be taught.
Should be.
We almost are in a desperate need for authenticity in today's world because there is so much horse shit out there. There's so much that you just being your authentic self. This is something that, and I don't know if you've heard this, but this is something I teach entrepreneurs, right? Everyone, and especially when I first started, I was getting all this like advice from people. They said niche marketing, find a niche. And as a matter of fact, once you find that niche, go even more detailed and deeper on that niche and just try to find one spec. So if you like real estate, well, what about real estate do you like? And then that, and they just keep going deeper and make it. Yeah, exactly. Get so specific on your niche.
Blue ocean.
Exactly. And I go, you know what? That's bullshit because my niche isn't that limited. They limit you when you talk about niche marketing. And in my opinion, it's actually good that everyone is so unauthentic because if you want to stand out and have your own fucking niche, create your own niche, man.
Yeah.
By being your authentic self.
Yeah.
That is how you make your brand stand out. That is how you make your niche stand out. That's how you be different from everybody is you be authentic. You be you because there's only one you.
Yeah.
There's only one me. I don't know how many other people have a truck, a Lambo, love to hunt, but also love Rolexes because I got a lot of buddies who love to hunt, but they don't like Rolexes and $120,000 watches. Like, I don't know very many people like that, but that's what I fucking love.
Yes.
And to me, I resonate with a lot of people when I am myself, right?
Correct.
I like to work out, I like to do these things. And that's what makes me, but I also like finance, I see all these guys are so focused on, weightlifting and body and mind. But I'm like, well, what about the finance piece, And so once you're authentic, once you're you, that's when you stand out. That's when you really set your brand apart.
Yes. Not
by trying to unauthentically, make it sound different, but just by being real.
Yes.
Just being real with what you have. And you're teaching your guys that.
I like to say we're overwhelmed with information and starved for wisdom.
I like that. We are overwhelmed with information.
Oh my gosh.
Which actually brings me to a point I was going to ask you because of courses. When I tell people I have a course, and I know you know this, I know you get this as well, there is such an interesting... What do I want to say here? There's such an interesting reaction.
I was going to say pause.
Yeah, pause or reaction that you'll get from some crowds, right?
Yes.
And also from a lot of crowds because courses are so looked down on now.
Yes.
And in my opinion, courses are what made me who I am. Anyone who ever shits on a course, who says, oh, you sell courses or whatever, is a dumbass. And I mean that with all my heart. Anyone who shits on you selling a course or a course being your business is a dumbass. Courses are what made me who I am. And by giving out courses, I've helped a lot, hundreds of entrepreneurs, but it's the people who shit on the courses. And I wonder if you get this as well of like, oh, a course? No, I need real steps. Like, bro, this is real steps.
Yes.
But I'm saying the same thing over and over and over again. So I just decide to film it.
Yep.
And so I don't have to keep wasting my breath saying the same stuff.
Right.
My mouth's getting dry saying this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to film it so you guys can go through those steps. Once you're through those steps and you're done, then we'll talk the next after that. Right. But
it's only valid if they pay $30,000 to drive into a parking lot to a building.
Right.
And there's like some professor there who's teaching the stuff that they haven't mastered.
Yes.
That's my favorite part.
Yes.
So many dudes. And this is where I think the difference is where you've nailed it is number one, your authenticity, but number two, your results. Where I think the courses get a bad rap are the guys that are selling it, but haven't taken their own course.
Oh, well, yeah. Fuck.
Who haven't mastered it.
There are too many of those. That is true.
Like that for us is where you can walk down the street. There's a million community colleges or universities who have a guy teaching finance or business whose IRA is less than yours and mine, who's never started a business, but he's got a textbook that you paid $395 for. It's all of a sudden magic.
Oh, I mean,
he's my course.
Yeah, exactly. Well, dude, that's the thing is how, like they say this, right? He who cannot do teaches. Right? But you know what? Not that's changed for today, right? Because yes, there's a lot of professors. They're not like, if you're really good as an entrepreneur, why are you teaching this, right? Not all. But here's what's interesting: it's directly correlated because in college, in universities, in any school, there's a lot of have-not dones who are somehow teaching it.
Yeah.
And guess what? It's the same in the course world as well.
Totally.
I have a friend who hasn't done shit, who is actually still in college, who is now trying to sell a course on how to be an entrepreneur and how to make millions.
Adorable.
And I was laughing my ass off because I'm like, you haven't made millions though. So how are you going to teach that until you've actually done it?
Right.
Right.
But on Wall Street, we would say you don't get advice from the guy who doesn't have the pockets you don't want.
Exactly.
It's like that was the old school way to say it nicely, to be like, I'm not going to take advice from you when my kid's 401k is bigger than yours. Like, I'm worried about that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that's where, bro, you've nailed it. And so right? But we're conditioned there. And so think about it also from a counselor perspective. I say this to these kids all the time. You go in, you're supposed to talk to the counselor. You're supposed to get guidance counselor. The guidance counselor failed because the guidance counselor made $37,000 this year and can't tell themselves how to get out of bed properly, but is going to dictate your life, not knowing you, your habits, your mindset, your beliefs, your childhood upbringing. None of that.
No.
Bro, it doesn't exist.
No.
You cannot get guidance for your life from another individual. Hell, we don't even have guidance for our own life.
No.
It's a lost art, man. You're absolutely right. But no, I applaud you for the courses.
Well, I applaud you too, because it's needed.
Yes.
Because here's the thing, and because time back to what you're saying, there's so much information out there.
Yeah.
The honest truth is, do you absolutely need my course? No. Does everyone absolutely need your course? No. But do you have any idea how many hours and how much time and money I spent on YouTube, on Google, testing, trying and failing with all these different things, with all this information out there? One guy says this, another guy says that. They all have their different things. There's so much information.
Tons.
And I went through it. I experienced it. I found out what worked from these guys and what didn't. And just because it's free, that means there's going to be a lot of information from it. Doesn't mean it's right.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So with the rate of information, the reason why I think people should actually crave and search out courses is because it skips the step. You can either go through the time and pain and money yourself to test out these theories, or you could just skip that, find someone who's already been there, done that, and then skip that and get there faster.
Right.
That's literally, like I say this, that's why I'm here today, why I've accomplished what I've accomplished, because I've paid really successful people to learn what they didn't do and learn what they did do.
Yeah.
And I skipped that step. I skipped the amount of time that it took to get there because, they're in their 40s and 50s and it took them this long.
Yes.
They show me, and now all of a sudden I've inherited all that knowledge that they've experienced. And as long as I apply it, as long as I actually have the balls to go out and do it, that's the biggest thing is to actually do it. I'll see the results they see.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and that's another thing is courses. You know how many people shit on courses because you probably bought a course and didn't even finish it. And even if you finished it, did you really study it? Did you really integrate it? Did you really take massive action to go out and apply it and even just test it? How many people do you have that just get it and don't even do it? How
many people start January 1 every year and fail January 5th?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
It is. It's so true. But to your point with the coursework, right? So we knew that our coursework worked inside. We knew that we could take, I always told people I would sit down with the Department of Correction or Bureau of Prisons and say, to me, reentry starts day one. Not 10 days to the gate, 30 days to the gate, 60 days to the gate. Starts day one. When you attach what I call a purpose or a passion or whatever you want to call it, your why, there's all sorts of buzzwords. But when you can tell this person that this is their passion and understand why, let's go through, like, what does it look like? I want to have money. Okay. Money doesn't keep you warm.
Nope.
Okay. So
unless you have a lot of it, then you can make a big blanket.
You make like a tiny, like a little hut, igloo, right?
You could be like Pablo Escobar, where he made his chairs and furniture out of that. You could do that.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. So go ahead.
Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah.
Is it Scrooge? Is it Uncle? Yeah. And so money's not going to get you that. So what does it mean to you? And so having these guys inside, and they'd be like, I never thought about that. And so now we're rewiring. So Sean Crane and I have rewired the convicted life. In order to make a change in the course or not, you got to be convicted. Because we've all bought the course. We've all dove into the personal trainer. We've all bought into the not you and I, but the Fit Tummy Tea, right? We've all thought there's this magical spear, this 60 seconds from my mom's basement with 3 filters on my face that's going to give me abs and $1 million. Right. And then that guy who created the course sucks because I'm not there. right?
Right.
That lack of accountability, man, we flesh that out immediately. So we work on the mental, right? How do we start you from the ground up? What are you talking to yourself about every day? This computer up here, what are we saying?
Yeah.
Right? What are the thoughts? What are the habits? When you're driving, when you wake up at 4 a.m., like we all do accidentally, like, oh man, I'm early, and those thoughts start racing, what's that self-talk? What's that if you're telling your friends or your family, I can't go to my dad and tell him I'm gonna start a business because he's in roofing and he's gonna call me a you know what, right? Like, mentally I can't get there. And then we rewire that. Then we go into the physical. I don't expect everyone to look like Michael Phelps in a Speedo, but bro, you got to move. You got to get your endorphins up. You got to be around people that want to move and get their endorphins up, right? You got to. It's the reason you have a gym here. You know the importance of it. And once those move together, you're like, wait a minute. Okay, my mind's right. My body's right. What am I doing here? I hate this cubicle, right? What's my purpose?
Yeah.
We call it spirituality. I'm not talking church. I'm not talking religion. I'm talking like when I die, right? 5 most powerful words in the English language. You are going to die. And when you do, why did I spend my time here? Once I figure that out, man, then the money follows. Then the money follows. Then you don't go off and screw it off because you've got your mind right and your body right and your purpose right. Man, the money just comes. And like now you're investing left, right, and center with these guys that are ahead of you. But bro, they're bringing you along so fast, you're treading water happily.
Yeah.
And you're tickled pink, they're tickled pink. And then this guy over here in his mom's basement still hates your course.
Yeah, that's right.
Meanwhile, 11 businesses and 3 exotic cars later, your life is amazing. You found a significant other that brings you joy. You travel the world with people that you love, and you have this circle of influence that's incredible. The only way you got there was to be convicted in making a change.
I think what you just said is so key. And I want everyone listening to this, hear me out on this. You already know enough to build a 6 and even 7 and maybe even 8-figure business. I promise you, you already know enough to do that. It's not about the knowledge. It's not about the detailed steps because everyone wants a detailed, perfected plan before they start.
No.
And if you wait till the day you're ready, you'll be waiting the rest of your life because you will never, ever, ever, ever know everything. You'll never be ready. And if you did know everything, then you're God. And why are you on this earth at that point, right? So, okay, you're not going to know everything. So number one, I can promise you one thing, you already know enough.
Yeah.
Because it's really fucking simple.
Yeah.
You know what you don't have? You don't have the mindset and the courage and the confidence to go out and do it, because I have not met a single entrepreneur that didn't have family and friends tell them in some form or fashion, you're dumb for doing it.
Terrible idea.
Terrible idea. You're going to fall flat on your face. And
then what happens when you fail?
Right.
That's the scariest thing.
Yeah, exactly. The fear of failure, the fear of what if, right?
What if?
It's the mentality that sets people apart. As a matter of fact, a lot of successful entrepreneurs that I know are definitely not the most intelligent men I've ever met.
Oh, hands
it's
down.
not even close. And like, it's not that they're not intelligent.
Correct.
They're not the most intelligent men I've ever met, but they are the most successful.
Yeah.
Why? Just because they had a set of cojones that other people didn't, right?
To do it.
Exactly. The biggest difference that set someone apart is that you're willing to do what someone else is not willing to do. And you know what's funny, because we're talking about Elon Musk, right? And how he said, I love that guy.
Yeah, same.
He's crazy, because he might be the most intelligent man ever to walk this planet. It's close. Like, we will look at him as our Nikola Tesla, our Einstein of our generation, right? And his intelligence is off the roof. But what is also off the roof with this guy? He's the one saying that, there's convicted felons and gang members who know a lot more about business than MBA people, right? It's funny because you're both MBA, right?
Yep. So
you see both sides of that,
bro,
right?
I didn't learn any of that stuff. The stuff that I've known the last 10 years, the things I learned in the joint from these guys through osmosis, bro, they don't teach you that in school.
PhD hard knocks right there.
No,
baby.
I used to, when I got out, and now I have it on my signature. I put my MSH. And so it's just my master's in making shit happen.
I love that. But with Elon, right? He says this. He's maybe the most intelligent. The dude is into brain, like putting chips in brains. He's into cars. He's into rockets.
Mars.
And Mars. Oh, he also with PayPal and Zip.
Oh,
and people are really good at one thing. He's good at all of them just because he's so intelligent. But
$1 billion exits multiple times.
Multiple times. But he does things. that are so ballsy.
Yes.
That it takes so much courage that's why he's become one of my heroes, and that's why he's where he is. The tweets he sends out, the ventures he takes on. I heard he just took on a venture with phones. He's gonna take on Apple. Jeez. What a fucking stud.
Wow.
To seriously, this dude has no fear. Correct. I do not think Elon Musk has fear, and I know he does, but in all reality, he has conquered his fears more than anyone else.
Yeah.
Yes, he's intelligent, but he's done things that no one would be willing to do. He sold his company for a couple $1 billion and invested every dime
all of it
into 2 separate companies and borrowed money for rent. Mm-hmm. That move alone shows me he's got some nuts on him, right?
Big time.
Some serious courage to do what he's doing. And so we're talking about men and women who have to overcome some serious shit.
Yeah.
You already know enough. It's not about what you know. It's about what you're willing to do versus what you're not willing to do.
Yes.
Because the biggest difference between a millionaire and a billionaire is what they were willing to do and the distance they were willing to go.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you see people here, they want it, but how bad do you really want it? Are you really willing to finish a fucking course?
Right.
And then apply the course
and
to your
life?
Do it. Right?
Because then you have to do it, and then people are going to judge you on the do.
And here's the thing about a course. This is why I love courses, actually. Everyone wants it done for them. And trust me, I run a business that's done for you systems, right?
Yep.
But I also run a business on the education side. And what is the difference between done for you and education side? Everyone wants done for you. Why? Because it's easy. Right?
Just do it.
The thing about a course is courses are the biggest self-reflecting venture you'll ever do. Why? Because it's up to you to learn it, apply it, go through the videos, study it, and make it happen.
Yeah.
Yes, the education's there. Yes, it's given to you, but it's up to you. You're at the end of the day, when you're doing a course, you're looking yourself in the mirror and you're saying, I have to do this.
Correct.
It's a huge self-reflection, self-discovery program of going through a course. So that's why I say anyone who shits on a course like, oh, you saw courses? Dude, you don't know what you're fucking talking about. You're a dumbass. Courses will get you there so much faster.
So much faster.
But you don't have the balls to do it either way.
Yeah.
Right?
And sometimes it's ego. Look at the mastermind events. The guys that look at you, you're putting, all these rock stars in a room. You're delivering all this wisdom and value. I would never attend that. I would never do this. Okay. The same guys that don't want to apply all the knowledge that they have at their fingertips.
Yeah.
I've got guys that would pray daily for the knowledge that these individuals have and take for granted.
Right. Absolutely.
All the excuses in the world. Yep. I can't do it. I'm overwhelmed. Bro, I had this call. I get this all the time from individuals who will go, hey, how do I do what you're doing?
Yeah.
Right? And
I get that question so many times.
So crazy. So I heard this story. I'll segue real quick. I heard this story, and I don't know if it's true or not. It was from Mark Cuban. He said that when people hit him up, he says yes every time and then sends them back almost like a scripted, if you want me to listen to your pitch, jump here, go here, fly here, meet me here. He's like 3 out of 1 million people ever do it. They'd never follow through because half of them just send it willy-nilly.
Yeah.
And then when he does say yes, he's like, bro, if you meet me at the finish line, there's a good likely chance I'm going to invest.
Yeah.
Just because of the human that you are.
Yeah.
We could figure out an idea.
Yeah.
Right? Anyhow, that neither here nor there. But like you have these individuals who are inside who are dying for information, dying for information. And you have people outside that just take it for granted. The difference is that perspective, the perspective. And I think that's where, as a society, we've really fallen short as of recent, giving folks that perspective. What does adversity feel like? What does it look like? What do the no's feel like? What is anxiety really? All these buzzwords that are out there, they really come back to belief systems. If I walk in and I'm nervous or I'm depressed, if you played a depressed woman's daily thoughts over a loudspeaker, bro, you'd want to kill yourself too. Period.
Yep.
Like you need to and by the way, and I know people aren't going to think that this is a good thing to say or it's going to offend some, but depression is selfish. When you're depressed, it's because I don't have this, I don't have that, I feel this way, I can't do this, I can't. Bro, spend 90% of tomorrow focusing on other people and tell me how you feel depressed the following day. Probably goes away.
It's impossible to feel depressed in the service of others.
1,000%.
When you're full of gratitude and you're full of service for other people, it's impossible to feel depressed.
It is.
And you know what? A lot of people would want your head on a platter for saying that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you should say it.
It offends a lot of people.
For that reason, you should say it because it's the truth.
Yes.
And only the truth will set you free. But also the truth is the sharpest knife that cuts right into your soul. That's kind of the whole idea of truth.
It is.
It's supposed to cut right through the bullshit and get you to where you want to be. Yes, feeling depression is always centered around you.
Yes, it's all you.
All you.
Your own self. Sorry. It really is. It's very interesting. All that negative self-talk. So I have a tough time with those buzzwords.
Yeah.
I go back to belief systems.
Yes. Well, I mean, you're talking about the most powerful words in the English language. I say the most powerful words in any language is I am. If you tell yourself you are.
Yeah.
You know, you are what you tell yourself you are. You are what you think. You are how you feel. Your soul is colored and dyed with your thoughts, right? Yeah. You literally become who you think you will become.
Yes.
That whole idea of who do you think you are? Do you really want me to tell you? Because what's up here you can't handle.
It's gonna scare you.
Because what I've created up here is a monster, right? But if we could just teach people how powerful their thoughts and words are, they would never think a negative thing about themselves again.
No.
There's actually an old Chinese or Japanese proverb that says, never speak negative of yourself because the warrior within hears it all, right? And I definitely butchered that. It's something along those lines.
I love it, though.
But if you really understood how powerful your thoughts and your words really are, you would never dare speak a negative word or think a negative thing about yourself again.
Yeah.
You wouldn't dare because it sets you back like you can't believe. But then also on the reverse side, if you really understood how powerful your words and thoughts are, you would not stop in thinking highly and making sure you reinvigorate yourself with I am strong, the manifestations of who you can become and who you really are.
Yeah.
You would never stop. It's almost like this drug you keep putting in yourself in a good way, right? Because we're talking about the other drug.
Right.
In a good way that will make you that person.
Yes. But when people ask that, like, and I don't know how you answer it. I don't even know if there's a right way. I'd love to learn from you. But when people go, like, how do you do this? I mean, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're going here, you got this, you got the wife, you got all these things, right? Throw 4 kids into the mix, all this stuff.
Yeah.
My genuine answer is you don't want to know.
Yeah.
You don't want to know what 17,520 hours in a cell feels like. I prayed for this. I asked for this. I begged God for this. Don't hit me with, I'm busy. I'm sad. I'm overwhelmed. You got the wrong guy. If you knew, like you said, the monster that was upstairs, I don't know if you'd text me.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm psychotic.
Yeah.
I operate on a different level. I believe, like you said, that our children will take over the world.
Yes.
Our children will make a difference. The things that you and I will leave behind will change posterity, period. We will save lives.
Yeah.
Like, end of story.
Yeah. And you know what? When you tell that to weak-minded people, not only does it fall on deaf ears, it actually it's less than just falling on deaf ears. They actually will react negatively to it. Why? Because it threatens them.
Totally.
It threatens their way of being. It threatens their comfort zone, which happens to be a victimhood zone, a victim mentality zone. Do you have any idea how many people, and I know you do, by the way, I'm just saying this to the speakers, how many people do you know that are very, very, very comfortable living in a victim way of life?
Love it.
As a matter of fact, that is probably the most common thing you'll see with someone who's depressed is they are the victim. Like you're saying, life is happening to them, not for them. They do not think they have control over the outcome of their life. They do not think they have the control over their emotions or anything. That shit keeps happening to them and they have no control. What a pussy way of thinking, because in all reality, do you have any idea just how powerful you are? Do you have any fucking idea? Your heart is beating at 1 million beats per day and you have no idea, right? You have no idea it's even happening. Your lungs are pumping hundreds of millions of liters of air every day and you're not even thinking about it. Where's that? That comes from that eternal engine that's inside you, your fucking soul that has the power to create everything you see around us was created by someone who has that same engine as you. You're a human being, meaning you have the engine of creativity, the engine of building, the engine that will not stop. You're not a fucking candle that's going to burn out. You're a fire that can infuse flame into other people. And if you realize that power, you truly become unstoppable. And that's why America has become such an incredible country, because we are founded off the belief that I am the man who will create my own destiny.
Correct.
Not the government, not anything else. That flag stands because I am the master of my fate. And this country is built off of the lives of entrepreneurs who believe in themselves over anyone else.
Yes.
And today that's threatened by people who want to come in and say, we know how to handle your life better than you. We know how to handle your bills, your health, everything better than you do. So we're going to take over.
Right.
We're going to give you your bills. We're going to actually start paying for certain things. You're going to give us a little bit because we're going to handle this a little bit better than you.
A little administration fee.
Yeah, exactly. With a little administration fee, right? Just a little bit of freedom.
Just ignore it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the threat that comes in. What we're experiencing today is the American dream is it's on me and me alone, and I don't want it on anyone else. It's the ultimate level of accountability, and that's why there's an empire state building. That's why there is the most incredible businesses and people and feats. That's why there are Olympians here who set the records like no one can believe. That's why America's America, because we are built on the foundation of it's up to me and nobody else to make it happen. Right?
We're built for this.
And the beauty of this country is, guess what? It could go wrong.
Yes.
And it could go wrong in a really bad way that makes you maybe end up in prison.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? You can start over.
Rebuild.
You can rebuild, and it's time to go again.
Big time.
Literally, that's what
Even
you
harder.
stand for, right?
Even harder.
Yes.
Even harder.
Yes.
That's the thing. It's like when I teach these kids, and this is like one of the good things from MBA school, you have two schools of entrepreneurs. 9 out of 10 businesses fail. The first guy says, I can't make it through the first failure, let alone the subsequent 9.
Yeah.
The second guy says, I only got to fail 9 times, bro. That perspective right there, that's a game changer.
That's MBA stuff?
Yeah.
It's only a good thing. I'm just kidding.
It's only a couple good things. But yeah, man, it is. It's incredible. And taking that perspective and really shifting guys that are behind the fences and now in front of the fences, man, it's just been life-changing.
So what's the goal? What's the vision for what you guys are doing? Where are you guys going to end up? Talk to me. What's the future?
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll start tangible and I'll go Elon Musk on you.
Oh, yeah.
Convicted life. I want to put 1,000 guys in the room every quarter next year.
Okay.
I want to create a community for the underdogs. A community where courses are celebrated. A community where accountability is celebrated. I want a community for guys that are working a 9 to 5, but really have a passion on a 5 to 9, who are looking for a coach or a mentor, whatever we're going to call it, right? But who want to accelerate their path in life, who know they're better than their current state, who know they're destined for better than what they're giving themselves. I don't want the crybabies, the sissies, the weak. I don't want any of that.
You get a lot of them come in, trying.
Boatload of them, bro. We know that. Sheep's in wolf's clothing. And so I want those guys in a room because there's no community out there for the guy that makes $55K a year, but knows he's worth $55K a week. To take him from where he's at, and you have these guys that have this engine inside of them who are just like stuck in Dayton, Ohio, in Tuscaloosa, and are like, man, if I just had a network, if I just, right, like I'm starved.
A lot of if I just had this, phrases. I get that.
Exactly. I want these guys in a room, and I want to lift all boats. I want to go, oh, you know what? You're looking for franchise? Boom, Jeremiah, what do you got? Oh, you're looking for courses? Boom, what do you got? Oh, you need an attorney? Boom, what do you got? Oh, you want to, like, I want to become that nucleus for those individuals. That's the next level. In terms of $1 billion exit, so I want to, my goal is to become the prison czar underneath the president of the United States. And to reverse engineer that is going to take some technology. I'm working on it as we speak. Re-entry has a buzzword to it. When guys leave prison, girls leave prison, they re-enter society. Re-entry, okay? Re-entry looks different to everybody, right? I was fortunate. I went in with a wife, came out with a wife, went in with a family, came out, right? I was 1% of 1%. But re-entry is different to every one of these guys that get out and gals. But the re-entry manual is the same. And I visit every state in the country, and I go, give me a reentry book. It's typically about 32 pages, spiral bound to tell you when it was printed, when Kinko's still existed, like in the Nixon administration.
Yeah.
And we'll give you zero resources. I want to take reentry and say, all right, this guy was in for this offense. He's been out of society for this many months, weeks, days, years. These are his hurdles. And here's how we're going to re-enter him. And the curriculum that he gets is specific to his needs. You're going to Boston. You've got a car, but no job. You've got a job, but no car. You're on a drug charge, but don't have a... Every single person in front of that tablet gets reentry for them. And if you're going to Alabama or Arizona, there's a guy there who pops up on the screen, or a gal, and says, I'm the one that's going to meet you at the gate. I'm the one that's going to take you to the DMV. I'm the one that's going to bring you to health and welfare. I'm the one that's going to make sure you get to parole or probation. I'm your day one guy or gal. I got you. Like, that face of reentry irritates a lot of people because they know it'll go away. And I'll take a lot of jobs.
Wow, I love it, man. Well, brother, I cannot thank you enough for coming on the bullpen. It's been so much fun talking to you, bro. If they're okay, but people need to get a hold of you. What's the best way people can get a hold of you right now for all listeners? Yeah, so if you have an individual who's inside, who you're looking just to lift their spirits and get them some curriculum that's real, that's accomplishedventures.org. Accomplishedventures.org. Yeah. Okay. And we're going to link all this in the bio and all our videos, but yeah, we'll have this link, but accomplishedventures.org. Okay. Yeah, for anybody who's incarcerated, facing incarceration, just been sentenced, any of that process, we've got a curriculum for everybody. Awesome. Start to finish, you know, day one to day zero. Yeah. And then if you're outside, that's convictedlife.com. Convictedlife.com. Yeah. Also, what's your Instagram? I am Travis Richey, right? Yeah. We'll link all this. I am. There you go, my man. I love it, brother. Go follow this guy, guys. This, like, I mean, dude, it's impressive. Thank you. It's impressive. It's and that's what I love. I love doing this podcast. And I was actually hesitant to do a podcast until I started seeing how it was, because I get to meet people like you. Yeah. I get to talk to people like you. I get to feel your energy, hear what you're doing, see what you're doing, you know, and learn more. It's inspiring to me, and I know everyone listening is inspiring to them as well. So I can't thank you enough, brother, for coming down. Likewise, my man. Appreciate you. Pleasure.